Once again, it's been way too long since the basics put the spotlight on a Beast Wars character. So this week, I thought it was time for a look at my own personal favourite Beast Warrior, Rhinox. The original Rhinox toy was released in 1996 as part of the first year of the Beast Wars toy line. He was a member of the heroic Maximals, who transformed, like his name suggests, into a rhinoceros. He was armed with a spinning mace weapon and was characterized by the profile on the toy's packaging as a tough, cunning, territorial Maximal who never backed down from a fight. This profile, however, would be largely ignored by the Beast Wars animated series, which took its own approach to the character. In the cartoon, Rhinox was the science officer of a crew of Maximals stranded on prehistoric Earth. The perfect mix of brains and brawn, he was both a brilliant engineer and an awesomely powerful warrior. Intelligent, dedicated, reliable, even occasionally spiritual, he had all the attributes necessary to be a great leader, but he preferred to remain a follower, taking life slow and steady and stopping to smell the flowers. The cartoon reimagined the toy's mace into a pair of devastating rotary cannons that served as Rhinox's signature weapons, but it was his technical and engineering skills that were his greatest asset in the Maximals' war against their enemies, the Predacons. Showcase stories for Rhinox in the series included being reprogrammed into a Predacon by Megatron, only to be turned back to normal when he proved so smart and dangerous that he almost usurped command of the Predacons for himself, guiding the Maximals to safety after they were temporarily blinded, and being infected by an Energon discharge virus, which allowed him to quite literally fart the Predacons into submission. In 1998, a second toy of Rhinox was released as part of the new Transmetals range of Beast Wars figures, which gave Rhinox the ability to transform into a third transport mode, akin to a snowmobile. Rhinox didn't undergo the upgrade into this new form in the cartoon, but he did remain a regular member of the cast until the end of the series, and even struck the final blow of the Beast Wars, taking Megatron down by crashing a shuttle into him. Rhinox's story took a tragic turn in the 1999 sequel series, Beast Machines, which saw the Maximals return to Cybertron, only to find that Megatron had conquered the planet and replaced its populace with lifeless Viacon drones. Most of the Maximals were able to flee underground, but Rhinox was captured and had his spark extracted from his body. Soon after, when his drones proved incapable of hunting the other Maximals down, Megatron implanted Rhinox's spark in a new body to create Tankor, a living Viacon general who could lead the drones in their mission. Rhinox's consciousness was buried beneath the brutish, simple-minded Tankor's personality programming, but after multiple battles, the Maximals were eventually able to bring their friend's mind back to the surface. Sadly, Rhinox had been warped by his experiences as a Viacon, and had decided that he agreed with Megatron's vision of a Cybertron with no free will. But to make it perfect, he decided to eliminate Megatron and take over the planet himself. Rhinox manipulated both Megatron and Optimus Primal into unleashing the ancient powers of the Key to Vector Sigma and the Plasma Energy Chamber, hoping they would destroy each other. But the collision of energies only wound up destroying Rhinox himself. Realizing in death how misguided his actions had been, his purified spirit bade farewell to Optimus and vanished into the afterlife. A toy of Tankor was released in the first year of the Beast Machines toy line, but it was based on concept art for the cartoon and wound up looking quite different to Tankor's finalized animated appearance. A toy of one of his lifeless Viacon tank drones was later released in 2001, which better resembled the character. Now, there have been various alternate accounts of exactly what happened to Rhinox after his death. In the 2003 comic book Transformers Universe, he was brought back to life by the Transformers god Primus to aid Optimus Primal in the war with the evil armies of Unicron. Conversely, the 2004 prose story Singularity a Bliss, written by Beast Machine showrunner Bob Skir, told the tale of how Rhinox's spirit became a kind of angelic being who guided the sparks of deceased Transformers on their way to the great beyond. In still other stories, his restless spirit wandered into other dimensions in the multiverse. We'll come back to that in a few minutes. Of the original Beast Wars cast, Rhinox is a character who hasn't been revisited quite as much as others, with mostly only minor appearances in media and only the occasional new toy or piece of merchandise in the 21st century. Probably the most notable new incarnation of him to be introduced since the original was the one seen in the Transformers Armada toy line in 2003. A recolor of the Beast Wars Transmetal toy, Armada Rhinox was characterized as a courageous take-charge warrior, but one whose overbearing attitude on the battlefield tended to alienate his comrades. He made a brief cameo in the final episode of the Armada cartoon, while the Armada comic book told the story of how he was abducted and enslaved by Unicron, becoming War, the leader of Unicron's 4 horsemen. Other minor incarnations of Rhinox have included the version of the character from the world of the Trans-Tech, who was responsible for observing and cataloguing the infinite different universes in the Transformers multiverse, and the Rhinox from the comedy manga Transformers Legends, a goofy slapstick series in which he was a middle-aged office worker and a big old G1er who hated every Transformers series except the original. Tankor too has reappeared from time to time. The 2003 Universe toy line featured a version of the character from an alternate universe where he and fellow Viacon Obsidian overthrew Megatron, while 2009's Revenge of the Fallen toy line introduced a live-action movie incarnation of Tankor, who made a few appearances in movie tie-in comic books. Perhaps most notably though, the name Tankor was repurposed in 2008 to become a new name for the Decepticon tanker truck, Octane, after the trademark on his original name became unavailable, and he appeared in IDW Publishing's comic books under that name. Eventually, brand new toys of both Rhinox and Tankor based on the characters' original cartoon designs were released in the Transformers Generations line in 2014, which precipitated the addition of the pair to IDW's comics as well. In IDW's universe, Rhinox and Tankor were separate, very different characters. Rhinox was an ancient Transformer from Cybertron's prehistoric past, a member of the Beast Army of Onyx Prime, while Tankor was a modern Cybertronian, one of many neutral Transformers who left the planet to escape the war. Returning to Cybertron after the war had ended, Tankor became good friends with the other Tankor, and to make it easier for everyone to identify them, the pair became known as Tall Tankor and Fat Tankor. These new toys were also released in Japan as part of the Transformers Legends toy line, which inspired a storyline in the Legends manga that saw its version of Rhinox cross paths with the Beast Wars original. The story began when Legends Rhinox was transformed into Tankor by the mysterious disease known as Transformer Sickness, and set out to turn the world back to how it used to be in the good old days of G1 with his 80s transformation beam. Defeated and returned to normal, Legends Rhinox was then visited by the wandering spirit of the original Rhinox, who empathized with the guilt that he felt over his misdeeds as Tankor. To thank him for his counsel, Legends Rhinox built the original Rhinox a new body for his spark to inhabit, allowing him to return to life and reunite with his old Maximal friends. Perhaps one day a mainstream Transformers series will really return Rhinox to the spotlight, but even if it never happens, it wouldn't exactly be ill-fitting for a bot like him, who prefers to play a supporting role rather than take the lead. For now, we can just appreciate the big guy the way he is, the brains, the muscle, and the heart of the Maximals, all in one. And those are the basics on my guy Rhinox. If you've enjoyed this video, give the like button a click and subscribe for more Transformers history and lore. And if you're able to support the series on Patreon, well, I think Rhinox put it best when he said, "That's just dandy."